Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Please abiding by the AFTERBIRTH Plus. Don't give me this spotlight. Don't give me this 2 save files to go. I want the negative. You'll be noticing I sound a little bit different today. I'm not ill. My voice has just okay, I'm ill. You got me. And no matter how hard I work for it at PAX, you wouldn't believe this year. Soap, hand sanitizer, fist bumps instead of handshakes. Maybe I have the immune system of a child. I used to be perfect attendance kid. Just being sincere. And half of that was because I rarely got sick, and half of that was because even if I was a little bit sick, I would still go to school and then infect all of the other kids at school with it and then get my badge at the end of the year. But I don't know, I've gotten mad about it, to be honest, and it's a bad look. But like when you go into PAX, there's security, there's cops. Some areas, there's metal detectors, usually off-site. They're there to see if you're a dangerous person. There is no staff anywhere near the Washington State Convention Center that are checking to make sure you wash your darn hands. Please, Lord, if you're going into a public place with a lot of people, you're going to be touching a lot of the same things. Wash your dang hands, okay? I can even think back, like, to when it maybe happened. I remember I had played a game, and I'm not necessarily blaming the person that played before me. Who knows? It could have been some guy at 9 a.m. Which was a time that was, you know, I was not there for. Let's put it that way. Played a game. Normally, hand sanitizer. Didn't have the hand sanitizer on me. Was away from the hand sanitizer administrator. And I rubbed my eye. And as soon as I rubbed my eye, I was like, oh no. It was like straight out of a movie. Where you see like the virus going in and you're like, this is going to be real bad. And it would be, who knows? Anyway, it feels very mild. I kind of been, I've been nursing it inside, like inside of my body without letting anybody know for like the last 3 days. I'm so concerned because the last one that, you know, the last illness Kate and I had was in June, which is very recent. And simultaneously, that one was a nightmare. It lasted like nearly a month. It doesn't feel like that'll be the case this time. I mean, yesterday I left the house, infected all of Vancouver, sneezed on a couple, you know, bunches of fresh bananas down at the grocery store, but like, it is what it is. I also think it's like, because it's a little embarrassing to admit, but the voice is probably the muscle I work out the most. Well, except of course for my brain, but I think that's why it always starts there. It's always like the most obvious as well. But like I can always, whenever I get sick, I always feel it start with like a sore Adam's apple. And I'm like, oh no. Maybe it's not a mild cold. Maybe it's actually just a sore Adam's apple. Like, is there any chance maybe I took a sharp impact? The denial is what I'm trying to get at, is funny. But anyway, I feel, and I say it every time, but it's just because I'm a man who can deal with it. But no, it's, I actually feel fine. I sound worse than I am, and I'll tell you if that changes. For now, dude, we're crushing Isaac. Why not? Might be a little much. We have no... You know what? This would be a great run to do boss rush on if our stats keeps scaling here. So we got 5 bombs. We'll check. Good stuff. Eternal Heart would be nice. That's not nice, but also simultaneously not that bad. We got so many bombs. What we need is a good active. Wow, it worked. I'll be honest with you, I actually did not know if you could throw with a diagonal on Bob's Rotten Head. So you learn something new every day. Now that's a piece of information I'm going to purge from my brain as soon as possible. Can I have a grocery store anecdote for you? I don't think people ever get tired of the grocery store anecdotes, and I love it. I mean, here's the thing. You know, Jerry Seinfeld lambasted in comedy circles these days, and maybe rightfully, you know, he's not my favorite stand-up comedian. I think it just annoys me. You know, like in bodybuilding, there's like steroid-using bodybuilders, and there's natural bodybuilders. And I don't want to, you know, blow you away here and maybe contribute to you having an epiphany, but Mr. Olympia is not a natural competition, is all I'm saying. The best bodybuilders in the world are probably, but definitely also, you know, using some performance-enhancing drugs, because they don't test for it at Mr. Olympia, because then, you know, eventually they're going to have a dude that steps up that's in unbelievably incredible shape, but not nearly as good as Ronnie Coleman was. Anyway, you get the idea. People treat comedy like that sometimes. They're like, yeah, I don't like Jerry that much, but he's one of the best clean comedians out. He's not using performance-enhancing words like frig and poop. Anyway, he gets lambasted for his, what's the deal with airplane food? Dunk-a-dunk-a. You get the idea. That would be me if I ever actually hit it big. 20 years later. That's when I was at the grocery store this other day. People were like, what a hack! Smash a watermelon, Gallagher. Anyway, the point is, usually, well, let's start the bit with a little context, okay? My wife and I are environmentally conscious. My wife is environmentally conscious because she loves the planet. I'm environmentally conscious because I love my wife. She makes the recycling. You know, if she'll check the label that nobody else on Earth understands. Is this biodegradable? Is it compostable? Is it recyclable? What kind of recycling do you put it in? And then I take it down a big bag of recycling to the trash and probably nullify like 80% of her hard work by being like, is this a tin can or an aluminum can? Anyway, yes, there is a different box for each, at least in our recycling area. So when we go to the grocery store, we bring our own bags. As far as I'm concerned, if you're not down with the bring your own bags, you're kind of part of the problem, right? It's literally like the mildest inconvenience. I don't care if you have a branded grocery bag that says the name of the grocery store and the location you bought it from. That doesn't bother me. Whenever I see somebody show up with like, especially, this sounds, I mean, it doesn't sound ageist, it just is ageist. Somebody's like our age. You know, they're in their 20s or early 30s, and they have like a huge load of groceries, and then the cashier goes, do you have your own bags? Sometimes they'll go, I forgot. No problem, dude, stuff happens, right? If they just go, no! I'm like, do you just hate planet Earth? You're just gonna put like 8 plastic bags in the garbage 2 times a week? That's, okay, anyway, I'm not trying to get preachy about it. I'm just saying, you know, it's literally like the bare minimum amount of effort. It's not even effort at all. If anything, it almost saves you a little time, because you don't have to throw the bags in the garbage. Instead, you just put them in the closet, which is probably roughly the same. Anyway, so we have a division of labor that works out very well for us. When we're buying groceries, you know what? Pop this. My wife bags the groceries, and I handle the transactional nature of the, you know, buying food in a capitalist society. Do you have your rewards card? Yeah. Do you have any coupons? No. Do you have parking? Yes, most of the time. Sometimes I forget it. That'll be blah blah. I'll put that on credit, please. Go ahead when the machine's ready. Beep. Oh, your tap function doesn't work. Oh, yeah, the machine's on the fritz sometimes. Here, let me swipe it for you. And you get the idea. I went grocery shopping alone last night, and I realized that for one person, and I'm not mad at the cashier, okay? Not at all. Because I don't think this is part of the job description necessarily. But I did miss the memo, at least at this grocery store, and I've had it happen many times before here, that if you buy bags from the grocery store, if you go, hey, I didn't bring any bags, they're the arbiter of the plastic bag. They put your food in the plastic bag and they give it to you. If you say, I have my own bags, They say, oh, la-di-da, Mr. Custom Bag Man. Okay, I can't possibly interface with the complicated infrastructure of your bags, so why don't you just bag it yourself? I always hope that I get a little bit of help when I'm grocery shopping solo. It's not hard, you know. Did it for many years, you know, before being married as well. But, like, I put the bag up on the counter next to the cashier. I pop it open so it's standing upright. It's a good bag, okay? It came from a better grocery store than the one I'm in right now. Maybe that's the problem. They're like, this isn't our proprietary bag, so the union won't let me touch it. I don't get... Anyway, instead, she just puts the groceries next to the bag. And then I have to simultaneously, because there was no line, it was late at night, load the groceries onto the conveyor belt. She scans them in half a second. I grab it, put it into the bag, put another grocery onto the conveyor belt. Just seems like... I'm not going to deny I still got the easy job in the situation here. I just didn't realize that it's like gas, you know? If you pay 5 cents for a plastic bag from the grocery store, you get full service. Oh, excuse me, sir. Would you like the meat to be double bagged? Would you, Oh, would you like the meat and the bread in a separate bag? Here's the bread on top. Oh, do you want to use your points for that? You know, that. If you bring your own bags, they're like, oh, okay. That'll be $5,000, please. I didn't realize that we had a stratification of consumers like that. But it's my mistake, I guess. Okay, grab this. I'm not actually bitter. I'm just, you know, at the time I was looking at the lady like, come on. And I gotta say, I did a very un-Canadian thing. I don't think we've had either of these. We get to take both, right? No. So what I did, I made sure, you might think that was a mistake, but I made sure to take the worst item first. That's my new method for this save file. If you have a choice between 2 items and your run is good, take the worst item. That way, you're more likely to finish the save file faster. Because if you always take the best item, a lot of crappy items are going to fall through the cracks. Although I guess this is exactly the same thing, where I will just instead intentionally inhibit myself and never take the good items. But we'll try to avoid that. When she was like, have a good day, I didn't say you too. I said thanks. It's like a Canadian... I mean, it's a hate crime, more or less. She said, have a good day. Normally I would say, you too. Instead I went, thanks. It's not her fault. You know, she's making $11.50 an hour, working the late shift at Save On Foods. I don't really want her to be, you know, potentially hurting herself loading my very, very dense groceries into my cart, or into the bag at least. It's kind of my responsibility, I guess. I'm just saying it highlighted for me how buying groceries is kind of a 2-person job. At least for peak efficiency. It's like a bobsled team, you know? Like 2 men can run a bobsled, but if you want to get those world record times, it's a 4-man bobsled team, right? Probably? I know there's a 2-man and a 4-man bobsled. I think we've had camo undies. Give me a second here. What's faster? 2-man or 4-man bobsled? How fast does a 4-man bobsled go? 150 kilometers an hour? My Focus can do that. Why is there no easy answer to this question? What is the purpose of the 2 middle members of a 4-man bobsled? They add horsepower to the start and weight during the run. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm just like... On a 4-man bobsled, the 2 middle sledders contribute mostly during the start, but they still lean in turns as well. The increased speed and weight make 4-man sleds harder to steer than 2-man sleds. Okay. Increased speed would seem to indicate that a 4-man bobsled is faster than a 2-man bobsled. That does make sense. You know, if you apply mass on a near frictionless surface at a downward angle, you can see why that would go faster. It's like Mario Kart, right? Donkey Kong, Bowser, and Wario. Low acceleration, high top speed, because they got more momentum. P equals M times V. That's right. By the way, don't be patronizing about it. Sometimes I'll say a formula like that on Twitch. People, it illuminates for me how stupid sometimes people think I actually am. And that's an uncomfortable truth. They're like, whoa, NL knows the formula for momentum. Yeah, I mean, I took grade 11 and grade 12 physics and got like a 98 in both. It was 15 years ago. But it's also, well, 12 years ago, let's not go crazy. But it was also like, you know, a formula with 2 freaking variables. So the quadratic equation, you learn it earlier. I never remember it. People sometimes use remembering the quadratic equation as like, you know, a shorthand for being good at math. You are an idiot. No offense. Subscribe via Twitch Prime. But like, memorizing that doesn't mean anything. Neither does memorizing, you know, oh, F equals MA. Sure, if you work like I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. I was gonna say, if you work in an industry where you need to use the quadratic formula, it's like if you work in an industry where you need to use the quadratic formula, I'm sure there's a piece of software made by an 8th grader that's just like, hey, plug in the equation, boop, solved. It's not freaking, you know, the Greek Empire. You don't need to use a pen and a piece of paper. Kate and I were talking about it the other day. This is such well-trodden territory, I almost don't even want to get into it, but, you know, in real life, you won't have a calculator everywhere and blah, blah. Okay, it is still good to learn shorthand for doing mathematics, I personally believe, at least. Is it realistic that in real life you won't be near a calculator? No. But there was also no way for your 6th grade teacher to know that. You know, they were born in 1967 when a computer was the size of a friggin' football field, okay? Cut them some slack. They got a 2-year degree from a teaching college, and then you're like, they couldn't predict the future. Like, have mercy, please. But then secondarily, get roasted. Dude, we could use some more DPS here, by the way. I should be using Little Brim more consciously, but secondarily, Kate and I were talking about it, and we're like, man, remember, like, when you used to do multiplication in 6th grade, 7th grade, etc., etc., and if you had, like, more than one 2-digit number, you would be like, okay, on the first line, you would draw, you would just multiply this number by this number, then the next line you would put a 0 and shift everything 1 to the left, and I'm like, man, it feels like, I mean, it just feels like that's insane. But it worked at the time, and if I remembered how to do it, it would work now. So if all of the electronics on Earth were fried by a single EMP blast or solar flare, I could still multiply very large numbers together. Then the only problem would be remembering that the only reason I ever multiply large numbers together is to get an answer correct on a math test. I'm sure if you work in, you know, electrical engineering, that might be different, or any kind of engineering, I'm sure. You know, or accounting, you know, this existed at one point, where you'd go into a man's office and he'd be like, okay, you know, Martin Van Buren, you made $35 million this year. Congratulations, it's the year 1901. That's the highest amount of money I've ever seen in my entire life. Now we're going to multiply that by the effective tax rate of the United States in the pre-World War I era, and that's, 0%, so you're free to go, sir. But yeah, you know, I never multiply large numbers by each other, for the most part. Not without a calculator. Still good to know, probably. Maybe? I don't know. We were talking about it on the NLSS yesterday, and I was surprised how many people disagreed with me. Cobalt said he did driver's ed in high school. And I don't know if this is a local parlance. Driver's ed is you learn to drive. Usually it's like some percentage of it is classroom based, some percentage of it is you're actually in a car with a driving instructor. In Canada, or at least the school I went to, we didn't have driver's ed in high school, so we had to do it in our off time. I think it would have been dope to have it like lumped in with school hours, because it is important. And by the way, if you're a nerd and you're like, well, I decided I didn't want to drive, so why should I have to take driver's ed? Yeah, welcome to everybody that, like, at the age of 14 is like, I'm going to work at my dad's farm, but still has to take, like, grade 9 music class. Okay? The shoe's on the other friggin' foot. Anyway, the point is, I think it would have been cool to have it in school. You know, to... these are both pretty bad. To have it be, like, formalized. You'd really remember the rules of the road. Like, that's where my weakness in driving is right now. And I think this is the weakness in driving with everybody that's, like, more than 10 years on from taking a ridden road test. When it comes to driving skills, I'm not like, you know, Mario Andretti, which might be a good thing. But I drive safely, I drive calmly, and, you know, I can park and not hit my car into things. You know, full stop. Sometimes, though, I will see a sign, and I will just be like, I don't know what that means. So I'm just gonna sit here for like a minute, maybe 15 seconds, and if nobody's coming, I'm gonna go. Like, some signs are very self-explanatory. Stop is a good one. Yield is a good one. You know, yield is just stop until it's safe. More or less. I know people, that's not what it says in the handbook. Yeah, but like when it translates into human kinematic actions, it's just like, look both ways, and you know, if you're not impeding anybody else, get out there. But then, you know, especially if you're in, you know, we were in Seattle and we were driving. I can't think of specifically what the sign was, but you know, there are some signs where, particularly like bus lanes, it's like on Saturdays in August, only buses and compact cars can use this lane. And you're like, I don't know, is this a compact car? I thought it was a mid-sized sedan. You know, you just kind of go with it. Oh, there you are. So I'm not really excited to be doing boss rush here, but... So yeah, that's why I feel like, you know, to formalize it a little bit would be, it'd be good for teaching you the rules of the road. But I also do think that we as a planet should make like a global driving language. The stop sign has been adopted worldwide. If I go to Brazil and I see a sign that says pare, I know what that means. If I see a sign in France that says arrête, I know what that means. But, you know, sometimes you go different parts of the world, they'll have 4 or sometimes even 5 lights on a traffic light. You know that I've said it many times before. Usually the lights have arrows, which is why I'm abandoning this bit, because actually it's fairly self-explanatory. But in Ontario, in Canada, a flashing green. Well, let's do a test, okay? How many of you are, you know, between the ages of, you know, let's say over the age of 15? You've taken your Ministry of Transportation road test. What does a flashing green light mean? That's right. It means you got a protected left turn. Flashing green light means turn left, nobody's coming straight. You're safe. You're not going to get killed. What does it mean in British Columbia? Almost the exact opposite. A flashing green light in British Columbia means the light is green, but it could turn red at any moment because a pedestrian hitting a like crosswalk button is what changes it. So the first time, you know, I was driving in BC, I was like, oh, protected green light. And thank God, in my brain, I was like, there's a car coming in the other direction. So I didn't turn left. And then he went through the light, and I was like, what the heck is this guy doing? And Kate's like, what do you mean, the light's green? We had a conversation, and I realized, oh, at least for laws like that, you gotta come up with some formal language, dude. Same thing, turning right on red. Some parts of the North America, at least I'm assuming the world, you can turn right on a red light as long as nobody is coming straight in the other direction or you're not inhibiting their traffic. Some parts of the world, they're like, don't turn right on red. Some lights are like, don't turn right on red. This is a busy light. Anyway, it's hard, you know? You ever think about like how much of the infrastructure of the world was made before computers really existed? Like, that must have been baffling. Like, this is a genuine question. How long have traffic lights existed? I'm assuming it's been since, like, you know, maybe like the 1930s. I'm gonna look it up, though, because it's an interesting question. Because it, you know, it's not necessarily a sophisticated device, but it does use electronics. I'm pretty sure now, you know, traffic lights communicate with other nearby traffic lights to make sure the flow of traffic is as smooth as possible. But imagine, like, pre-computers, how the heck do you plan a city? You get a big old blueprint, lay it out on like an architect's table. Oh good, Isaac's head has appeared in the basement. So we will take notched axe just for a moment here, and then... That's so much work. Everything back in the day took more work, you know? Computing power was so expensive. When were traffic lights invented? 1912 is the invention, but one traffic light at one intersection is kind of like... I want to know when were they popularized, but that's a less specific question. History. Well, there's the 1868, they had gas-powered ones. 1922, traffic towers were beginning to be controlled by automatic timers. Give it a sec. 1923 was the patent for the 3-color light. The control of traffic lights made a big turn with the rise of computers in America in the 1950s. Okay, somewhere, I don't know. Anyway, it seems like it was like maybe the 20s. Although at a lot of these cities, it was like 2 intersections had a traffic light. I guess there was a lot less traffic back then, but can you imagine driving in like Los Angeles and every single block is a 4-way stop? Where are you going? You know, a 30-mile drive. How long does it take you? A couple of days. You know, it took a while for infrastructure to catch up. I don't have a joke. I was thinking, the joke that I had was, no wonder the Black Dahlia was so mad all the time. Not a good joke. That guy killed a bunch of people. I mean, it was like a long time ago, but still. Oh, okay. Dude, this is a spotty run. Simultaneously, I'm also like, we could beat Hush. All we need is HP. I would love to up our damage a little bit, but I don't think it's necessary. We get a lot of Spirit Hearts. Like, the thing is, the shears are so good. They boomed me, straight up. Now, why am I not picking up the money? Because I am a fool? And you can't make fun of me because I'm sick. Cough, cough. I really thought that this year I'd beaten the PAX Pox. Like, this is actually the one time of being sick that I will never be like, come on, body, what are you doing? Literally, like, interfacing with the germs of, like, thousands of people's bodies. And from what I've seen, you know, in the... this is a real story. The first day of PAX, I went to the bathroom. I went into a stall, and it was just coated in feces. Like, not the stall itself, but, like, the bowl of the toilet. Coated in feces. They give away, like, PAX booklets that have maps in them. There had been maps shoved into the toilet, and then it was overflowing. Like, I just don't understand why... What possesses a person to do that? Are they, like, mad that their poop hurt or smells bad, and they're like, I gotta take this out. It can't possibly be my fault. And they're just being, I guess the simplest answer is probably the most obvious one. They're just being jerks for jerks' sake to have an impact. But I walked into the stall, and I just immediately walked out, and I went, come on, man. And there was a janitorial staff member there, and he said, I know. And I said, these people are savages. And he laughed. And then I went and I desecrated the stall that he had just cleaned. But, like, these people... Probably, you know, whenever people have an unpopular opinion that generalizes a group, they always say something like 99% of people are totally fine. In this case, I'll be brave. I don't think that's true. I think like 80% of the people going to PAX are like washing their hands, not picking their nose, and then being like, hey, are you Markiplier? Shaking hands, give me a hug. Can I rub my hands through your hair, etc., etc.? But I do think there's like 20% of people, and I'm being sincere, and they're on an epidemiological level, kind of squandering it for the rest of the crowd, that, you know, take a dump and then don't wash their hands because that might cost them one place in line to see Kingdom Hearts 3. You could place any game there. It wasn't if you listen to that and you're like, man, NL, stop insulting Kingdom Hearts. I'm starting to think you might be part of the 20%. That's all I'm saying. I don't care what you do in the privacy of your own home, but if you're interacting with other people, wash your hands, okay? It's just absurd. Now, maybe everybody's washing their hands, and it's just like PAX is also a convention for germs, where they're like, I'm going to infect so many people this weekend. Maybe there's nothing that can be done. But I think there's something that can be done. Please. Even if I can convince like 4 people going to PAX to next time they go into the bathroom, you don't even have to like it. You can have like a frown on your face when you wash your hands and go, I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't care, okay? Sometimes you have, well, I don't get sick, so why would I wash my, okay. Sometimes being an adult means literally taking 15 seconds out of your day to do something that would benefit, you know, potentially hundreds of other people in this case, all right? That's what it's all about. Just throwing that out there. But I really thought I'd beaten it because, you know, people were already starting to, on Twitter, they'd been, like, dealing with PAX pox for, like, 4 days. So I was like, dude, I got a little bit of a sore throat, like a 1 out of 10, but I'm fine. Then I woke up today, and I always do, like, a test, hey, everybody, just to see if my voice is okay. Let's give it a try. And I was like, hey, everybody! But instead it came out like, I was like, ah, frig. Hopefully, though, this is the tippy top of the mountain. Give me the mystery egg. Well, let's try this real quick. 2 of spades. I'm buying the coupon because we have not had it. And then I will donate many, many monies. 75 cents might have another upgrade. Donation machine's going okay. It did not have another upgrade. That's okay. This hush fight is gonna be real. Please, a good item, sir. Ooh, I mean, that's a very good item. I think we need it. Blood bag, not what we want. Bob's brain. We've taken it before on this save file. I'm just gonna level you. Not what we want. I'm very unfortunate. Also popped a mystery egg. Alright. Well, we may die. That was very painful. If we die, I think we're dying under honorable circumstances here. I'm really trying, but it's not that the run is bad. Now that we have 20 damage, the run is actually, like, very, very good, but, you know, we're also, literally, we've had 20 damage for a room. And the room is the hardest boss we can fight right now. Anyway, that's it. I'm being 100% honest with you. Genuine. I'm not blaming anybody else for the fact that I'm ill. I could have taken more precautions at PAX. We did not get 8 hours of sleep any night. So, you know, you gotta take a little personal responsibility as well. I do see it all the time after conventions. You know, streamers are like, I can't believe I got sick. And I'm like, wait, really? I was with you, dude. We indulged in adult beverages every night until far too late. Woke up after like 5 hours of sleep, and then we're like, okay, let's shake some people's hands. It's not necessary. There's never been a person that's like, oh, the steps for a healthy life. You know, go to the Twitch party where there's an open bar, stay there until 1 a.m. when they kick you out, and then wake up after 4 hours of sleep. And, you know, have people breathe in your face. I'm always jealous of the people that don't get ill. I've been to PAXs and not gotten ill, but it really is like it's a crapshoot. There's been years I should have gotten sick, didn't. And there's been years where I was like, I did nothing at PAX. I slept. The one that bothered me was like E3 a couple of years ago. We went to E3. I was on my best behavior. I still got a little ill. I had a night where I got like 10 hours of sleep. We went to bed at like 11 p.m. That's the thing about having weird hours. You know, like, I usually go to bed around 2. Wake up around 10. Go out to eat, do it again. Asher Roth, I Love College. My favorite gangster rapper. Not everybody's into the hard stuff, but we got to get in there. I really thought we were on the... We had the advantage here until we lost a lot of that range thanks to a $3 bill, but... Could just as easily do us a great service. Can we get Shears in there, please? It's in there, I think. They've done it again. Yeah, we're done. Probably. I still got a little sick, and I was like, oh, come on. But, oh, that's what I was going to say. Like, yeah, my hours, sometimes, when I go away to conventions, my sleep schedule normalizes, which is probably true for about, 0.01% of the people at the convention, aka the streamers. Dude, my speed is too low. Please do not... use your laser beams. I don't think I can get away. I'm just being sincere. Mathematically, I think we have a problem here. The other thing is definitely cannot kill you before the beams hit me. So we are going to have to dodge. What that means for me right now is that prevention is worth a disproportionate amount. We need to be in an area with a lot of space and the ability to reverse directions pretty quickly. Or we could just get hit by this. We'll see. Looking okay so far. Looking for a city where we'll never die. Let's go. When the time I'm here, never say man. Dude, let's go up. I can't believe we made it here. This is a real run. This is like a, daddy's back kind of run. Ooh. What's daddy's back? Oh, you never had that item? It's +1 to luck. As long as you have +1 to luck for every goblin you control in your sideboard. Not a very good card. Especially because it's blue. I have made a mistake here. Dude, obviously we need HP to win this run. This is not one where I'm like, hey, 1 HP. That's all you need. This is one where I am 3,000% like, give me some HP, but also give me some friggin' speed. If we don't get any speed, we're probably... Like, I hesitate to even talk about it right now, because we could easily just die from 1 hit from any of these enemies that are on the screen right now. This is not a streak situation. We already beat Boss Rush and Hush. It's like substantially more productive than the average run will be, but... It's a weird one. Forces you to make a tough choice, right? What's worth more? Stats or the shears? I tend to think stats right now. Because it does take us to 1.13 speed, which is bad but manageable. Got stuck on a rock there for a second and got very afraid. Oh! Still, great run. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It's a great deal. So, of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!